In today's class, we are going to discuss .NET Framework architecture. Hello students, welcome to the class of .NET Framework. In this, we are going to discuss about .NET Framework and its architecture. So in the diagram, you can able to see the different components of .NET Framework, which defines the .NET architecture. The main objective of this framework is to develop an application that can run on the Windows platform. Current version of the .NET Framework is 4.8. Somewhere .NET Framework 5.0 is also being evolved. It was introduced on November 2020. So here we are going to discuss the components of .NET Framework. The basic components, the major components of .NET Framework are CLR, CTS, BCL, CLS, FCL, .NET Assemblies, XML Web Services, and Windows Services. We will discuss each and every components one by one. So let's have a discussion on CLR, that is Common Language Runtime. Common Language Runtime is the heart of .NET. It is an application virtual machine that manages memory, implements code access security, verifies code safety, and provides execution of threads and code. CLR makes the .NET code a managed one. As we discussed on why to use .NET, the one features for managed code. So CLR is responsible to convert the .NET code into a managed one. It allows engineers to design systems with multiple languages, as CLR enables them to communicate and integrate their behaviors. The runtime checks the needed versions of applied services to ensure that all dependencies are intact and the code works as intended. In .NET Core, an open source core CLR is used. While nearly identical to CLR in .NET Framework, Core CLR is adjusted to the .NET Core cross-platform maker. It is an important part of a .NET Framework which works like a virtual component of the .NET Framework to execute the different languages program like C++, Visual Basic, C Sharp, etc. The CLR in the .NET Framework helps to convert the source code into the bytecode, and this bytecode is termed as CIL, that is Common Intermediate Language. Sometimes it is also referred as Microsoft Intermediate Language, as .NET Framework was introduced by Microsoft. So the code generated using CLR is termed as Microsoft Intermediate Language, that is MSIL. After converting into a bytecode, a CLR uses a just-in-time compiler at runtime that helps to convert a CIL or MSIL code into the machine or native code for the execution. So we have an idea about the CLR, that why it is called the heart. It is called the heart because it is responsible to convert the source code into the bytecode, and again it uses the GIT compiler through which the bytecode gets converted into machine code, or we can say for the execution file. The CLR makes .NET codes as a managed code. The next comes Common Type System, that is CTS. It specifies a standard that represents what type of data and value can be defined and managed in computer memory at runtime. A CTS ensures that programming data defined in various languages should be interact with each other to share information. For example, in C Sharp, we define data type as int. In C++, we define data type as int. In VB.NET, we define data type as integer. So, when the application was developed using C Sharp or VB.NET, the CTS is responsible to ensure the different data types in languages so that they can interact with the .NET framework and the file get executed. The next component is BCL, that is Base Class Library. It is a rich collection of libraries, features, and functions that helps to implement many programming languages in .NET Framework, such as C Sharp, Visual C++, F Sharp, JScript, and many more. Basically, when we talk about BCL, the library divides into two parts. The first part is known as user-defined class library, which is termed as assembly, and the second one is the predefined class library, which is termed as namespace. Assemblies are the collection of small parts of deployment and applications part. It contains either the DLL file or the executable file. The DLL file and the executable file both are different. In DLL file, it uses code reusability, whereas in exe file, it contains only output file or the application. DLL file can't be get opened, whereas we can execute exe file by opening it. DLL file can't run individually, whereas exe can run individually. DLL file has no main method, whereas exe file has main method. Exe file always get executed by main method. So here we can see the differences of DLL file and exe file. Both are called assemblies. Now the term namespace. It is a predefined class library. It is a collection of predefined class and method that present in .NET. In other languages such as C, we use header files. In Java, we use package. Similarly, in .NET, we use using system, where using is a keyword to use the namespace and the system is a name of namespace. The next comes component CLS, Common Language Specification. It is a subset of CTS, which defines a set of rules and regulations which should be followed by every language that comes under the .NET framework. In another word, we can say that a CLS language should be cross-language integration or interoperability. For example, in C Sharp and VB.NET language, the C Sharp language terminates each statement with semicolon, whereas in VB.NET there is no need to give any special character for the termination of the statement. .NET Framework provides a common platform to interact and share information for each other. So CLS makes the application integrated and interoperable using .NET Framework. Now the term comes .NET Assemblies. These are the main building block of the .NET Framework. It is a small unit of the code that contains a logical compiled code in common language infrastructure, which is used for deployment, security, and versioning. It defines in two parts, DLL library and exe file. When the .NET program is compiled, it generates a metadata with Microsoft Intermediate Language, which is stored in a file called assembly. Now, as we see that .NET has assemblies, and the next components come the FCL, Framework Class Library, which provides the various system functionality in .NET Framework, which includes classes, interfaces, data types, functions, etc. to create multiple functions and different types of applications such as desktop-based, web-based, mobile application, etc. The key components of FCL are object type, implementation of data structure, base data type, garbage collection, security and database connectivity, creating common platform for window and web-based application. These are the major components of FCL. Beside these components, there are some another components of .NET Framework. These are WinForms, ASP.NET, Edu.NET, WPF, WCF, WF, LinkQ, Entity Framework, and Parallel LinkQ. So let's have a discussion one by one. WinForms. It is a smart client technology for the .NET Framework. It is a set of managed libraries that simplify common application tasks such as reading and writing to the file system. ASP.NET, it is a web framework designed and developed by Microsoft. It is used to develop websites, web applications, and web services. It was first released in January 2002. As it is used to develop website, it provides a fantastic integration of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for the development of the websites. The next component was introduced, that is AGO.NET. It is a module of the .NET framework which is used to establish a connection between application and data sources. The data sources can be SQL Server, Oracle Server, or Microsoft Access. AG.NET consists of classes that can be used to connect, retrieve, insert, delete, and update the data. WPF, it is a graphical subsystem by Microsoft for rendering user interface in Windows-based application. Previously, it was known as Avalon when it was initially released. It was released on 3. It was released in 2006 with the .NET Framework 3.0 version. It uses DirectX. Next, WCF. It is a framework for building service-oriented application. Using WCF, one can send data as asynchronous messages from one service endpoint to another. It is used to create web services. WF, that is Workflow Foundation. It is a Microsoft technology that provides an API, an in-process workflow engine, and a rehostable designer to implement long-running processes as workflows within .NET applications. LinkU and Parallel LinkU. These are the concepts introduced in .NET Framework 3.5. It is used to make the query for data sources. In LinkU, we can create our query using C# and Visual Basic programming languages. And in Parallel LinkU, it provides the features of the LinkU as well as it provides the power of parallel programming. So we can say that Parallel LinkU combines the simplicity and readability of LinkU and provides the power of parallel programming. Entity Framework is an ORM-based open source framework which is used to work with a database using .NET Object. It eliminates lots of developers' effort to handle the database. It is a technology which deals with the database and it was recommended by Microsoft. Now, after having the idea about the basic components of .NET Framework, we are able to discuss what are its characteristics. I have listed few of the characteristics. You can include many more as per your convenience. What a .NET Framework supports? It supports different applications to be developed in easy and flexible way. So the first characteristics is easy and flexible use. We can use the .NET application anywhere, platform independent. Next is integration and surfing. .NET Framework supports the integration with different technologies. Either we use different databases or we can use different programming languages. It supports all types of integration and all the components such as CTS, CLS, and FCL. These three components play a vital role for the integration and surfing features of the .NET applications. Low investment. Yes, we can develop an application with a low investment for it. It supports the concept of parallel programming. So we can say that the application must be multitasking. And the application as .NET Framework contains the features of security, that is, it uses cryptographic techniques to implement in different versions. So we can say the .NET application can be secure and its speed is good. We can say that it is an efficient application if we use .NET Framework. Now the terms comes advantages and disadvantages. As we know, each and every .NET Framework has certain advantages and disadvantages. So let's have a look on the advantages first. It supports object-oriented software development model, reliable and simple caching system. It introduces the editor for the development, that is Visual Studio IDE. It supports flexible deployment and easy maintenance. It supports all the Microsoft features. It supports the concept of JIT compiler. And there are different advantages also, such as it has memory leak, the gap between release and stability, and it is limited to the object relational. So now we have an idea about .NET Framework architecture, its features, advantages, and disadvantages. Now there is a question for you all. When to use .NET? I have listed few one. You can use many more. So, as per my perception, when there is a need of a scalable product, cross-platform needs, and enterprise-scale infrastructure, we should opt .NET. A scalable product, as we know, software is upgrading day by day. So we should develop an application which supports the scalability. In .NET framework, it provides a scalable environment and allows for redesigning ongoing application in order to match the growing needs of the business. Cross-platform need. In case you need the app that will work across platform, .NET will be a great choice as most platforms are covered and you can reduce development effort while expanding your desktop or mobile app to other operating systems. Enterprise scale infrastructure. It's still a debatable point whether .NET is designed mostly for enterprise use or not. But Microsoft makes sure that it provides the widest tool set possible to build and cross-integrated enterprise product, both internal and public ones. It supports a robust enterprise mobility ecosystem. So these are the features through which we can say that yes, in these conditions where we want to develop a scalable product or cross-platform product, we can go for .NET. So thank you, class.